Good evening. Tonight, we're beginning our April 26th, 2017 school committee meeting. This is called your reorganization meeting, and I'm the acting chair pro tem for the purpose of the beginning reorganization. I would like to call the meeting to order for the purpose of electing a chair and a vice chair, and as our practice, I would like everyone to stand and pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we might jump to agenda item 3 and then go back once chairperson is identified and voted in. So to begin with, I would like to entertain a motion to, we're going to move that agenda. I would like to entertain a motion for the nomination of school committee chair.
Second.
Nominate someone.
To nominate
Oh, we
somebody.
have to entertain nominations,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'd like to nominate Kevin Donahue.
Excellent. Do we have a second?
Second.
Excellent. Dr. Donahue, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Are there any other nominations on the floor for chairperson of the school committee? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to close the nominations. Do I have a motion?
Yes.
Yeah.
So moved.
Excellent. Dr. Craighead, a second?
Second.
Great, Ms. Varela. By a show of hands, the motion to close the nominations? Excellent. And now I'd like to take a roll call vote of all members in alphabetical order, asking each member how they are voting. We'll begin, Dr. Elaine Craighead.
Yes.
Perhaps the
Kevin.
name of the,
Right.
Dr. Kevin Donahue.
Dr. Kevin Donahue.
Excellent. Dr. Donahue.
Dr. Donahue.
Excellent. Margaret Everhart.
Dr. Donahue.
Ada Rosemarin. Sheila Varela.
Dr. Donahue.
And Elizabeth White. Great. Dr. Donahue, I'd like to congratulate you.
Thank you.
You've been voted in the chairperson of the Milton School Committee.
Thank you very much.
And turn the agenda over to you.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
All right.
All right, so I think the next thing we'll do is we'll elect vice chair, and then we'll go back to agenda item number 2. So at this point, I'll entertain motions for the nomination of a vice chair of the school committee. Yes.
I'd like to nominate Sheila Varela for vice chair.
Is there a second?
I second that nomination.
Are there any other I'm sorry. Do you accept?
Yeah, I do accept the nomination, yes.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, then I'll entertain a motion to close the nominations.
A motion to close the nominations.
Any seconds?
Second.
Now, by show of hands, the motion to close the nominations will be voted. All right. So by roll call, members in alphabetical order, I'm going to ask specifically to you to identify who you're voting for vice chair. So Dr. Craighead,
Ms. Sheila Varela.
Dr. Donahue, Ms. Varela, Ms. Eberhardt,
Sheila Varela.
Ms. Rosemarin,
Sheila Varela.
Ms. Varela,
Sheila Varela.
and Ms. White.
Sheila Varela.
Excellent. I'd like to introduce Sheila Varela as the new vice chair. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, so moving back to agenda item number 2, approve agenda. I'm going to remove item number 4 from the agenda. It was anticipated that we would have some budget movement in the last week, but we don't have anything to vote on at this time. And I would like to add an agenda item that is Milton Times response as number 4. So with that settled, before we move on to the agenda, I'd like to take a moment to recognize a member of our community who passed away in the past week. We lost Ms. Kelleher, who began her career in the Milton Public Schools in 1999 as an educational assistant at the Cunningham Elementary School, and then in 2009 transferred to the Pierce Middle School, where she has been a special presence since then. In recent years, you could find her assisting the Pierce Middle School health room and in the classrooms. Throughout her career, her warm smile, kind and generous spirit gave comfort and support to families, students, and fellow staff members. And now I'd like to welcome our two newest members, Ms. White and Ms. Rose Marin. Congratulations.
Yay,
Excellent. Excellent campaign that you ran. If you have any introductory comments that you'd like to make, would love to hear them.
Yeah.
We'll start at the end, Ms. White, to put you on the spot.
Well, I've enjoyed, even though we didn't have a campaign per se, I still participated in a lot of the events that were debates or forums, and it was very interesting to talk to people and hear a lot already about people's concerns. And I feel like I've been involved with the schools over the last couple of years as a member of the warrant committee and town meeting, so I'm really looking forward to this new chapter.
Excellent. Ms. Rosemary?
And I also am very much looking forward to being a part of this wonderful group. And it's nice to take a new position relative to the schools. But it's a wonderful group of people, a wonderful school district, and look forward to many more great things happening.
Wonderful. Well, we're excited to have you. We're thrilled to have you.
Yes, we are.
Yes, very much so.
All right. So moving on to the new agenda item number 4, Milton Times response. I'm going to pass out some paperwork here. So as those of you who are readers of the Milton Times will know, there was a letter several weeks ago at this point that discussed the average salary of the Milton public school teacher. And, well, it's generally, I think, not an excellent idea for us as a body to get involved with sort of a back and forth through the Milton Times on their editorial page. The administration, and I agree, thought that it was important that where this was a sort of a point of fact, we correct the record publicly as soon as possible. So in front of you, you have a letter that was drafted by the administration earlier this week. The hope was that we could have this letter run as soon as possible in the upcoming issue of the Times, which is why you have it in front of you now. So when I spoke to the administration about how to sort of sign this letter, I felt that under most circumstances it would be appropriate coming from the administration, where this is, as I said, a matter of fact. But where this does involve an active political issue, I thought it would be better if we, the school committee, took a role in signing this. At that time, we were looking at the deadline for the print issue this week, and I told the administration that if we were unable to as a body, put this forward as a body, then they're welcome to put my name on it as an individual. But that's not how I would like to proceed. I would like this to be a sort of a group effort and a group correction, not sort of a one-person show, because that is not what this school committee is. You know, we are a committee. We speak with one voice, and that voice has to come from the committee through the normal work of the committee. So with that, I'll give you a few minutes to read this if you haven't been able to read it while I've been filibustering. And I'll entertain a motion to submit this to the Milton Times on our behalf.
I'll second.
Okay.
I'll push the motion
So moved.
forward. So moved.
And I'll second it.
Okay.
All right. So the motion's out there. If anyone would like to discuss it, we're happy to entertain discussion on it now. Otherwise, we'll vote as well.
Well, I was just wondering, besides the Milton Times, is there another way that we could put this on other websites? Just because I was at multiple events in the last couple of weeks, and folks who were, attending these events, even though they were not my events, were bringing up this issue and talking about this issue, and I was sometimes standing up and saying, that's not correct information. So I do think people have this idea, and I think it's really important to get this out there.
So maybe I'll make a friendly amendment to the motion, that the motion will be that the administration is permitted to disseminate this letter to all media outlets or social media outlets that they feel is appropriate in terms of getting this message out.
I would think especially the Milton scene, there are over 7,000 members of that right now. so that would be a good place as well.
Good, I think that's an excellent idea.
Mhm.
Any more discussion?
The only
Ms.
other thing I was thinking is, I mean, if it's something that we definitely feel is, out there for discussion, I don't know should the letter also go out like via the principals to the schools too, just like, I think that might be, from the chair, and school committee, just correct facts, so that, just like they send another attachment letter and other things they send out to the schools, but that way at least, it shows transparency and that we're speaking to that, it was an error, we want it to be upfront, here's the correct information, just like a brief, it's gonna be, say that it's being in the Milton Times and it's also attached for your review, because not everybody gets the especially younger families, not everybody gets the paper anymore, it's all online. So, it might be another place that, it's definitely getting out to the parents in the school.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
As well as the superintendent's
E-blast.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, I'll ask for a vote, show of hands. All in favor of the motion? It's unanimous. Excellent.
Thank you.
All right. So now, we're on to agenda item 5, which are the subcommittee assignments. So in your packets in front of you, in particular for the new members, it has the list of subcommittees, and it has the list of current school committee members who previously were on these subcommittees. So when the school committee turns over at election time, all of the subcommittees cease to be populated and are repopulated only by collective vote of the school committee. So I would encourage the members, in particular the new members, to look over the different subcommittees, see what is interesting to them, what they would find interesting to be a part of, and if everybody could send me a list of your top 5 choices, ranked in order, preferably by Friday. I realize it's sort of short turnaround, but the committees are relatively self-explanatory. We're happy to answer any questions that may come up, or the administration's always available to answer any questions that come up. I'd like to get the committees repopulated and back out there as soon as possible, in particular the finance subcommittee. Vice Chair.
So if we put, together the list and distribute them to you, do we have to then, I know you want to get them up and running, but do they have to be formally then voted on at the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay, all right, good.
And my intention is to sort of leaven the subcommittees with people who have been on them previously, so that there's a sort of continuity of knowledge there, as well as with the new members. So we won't stick you alone doing something.
So is there an assumption that the names that are showing here are going to continue, or that things may change?
So there is not necessarily that assumption.
Mhm. Okay.
Probably at least one of those names will stay
Okay.
on the committee, maybe more,
Mhm.
maybe somebody who was on that subcommittee years previously will go back on it, but there'll probably be at least one non-new member on each
For
subcommittee.
continuity?
Yeah, just for
Mhm.
continuity.
That's great.
Is there a typical number of subcommittees you're expected to be on?
No, I don't think that there's a typical number. Different members have different amounts of time and vigor, and we like to accommodate.
Okay.
So that does lead me into my next point, the number of people on the subcommittees. As people know, a quorum of this body is 4 members. So the only limitation in terms of number of school committee members on the subcommittee is we can't exceed 4. We can only have between 1 and 3 members on each subcommittee.
Can I say?
Vice Chair, yes.
But I do think that it's good, though, that we have at least 2, because sometimes, it's always good at every meeting to have, the school committee person there, because some of the committees are, are parent involved, or teachers, or principals, or administrators, what have you, people from the community, and when there's only, just one school committee person representing, and something happens or whatever, so when we look at it, think about, and if you guys have questions about it, it's good to just at least to try to have 2, just in case one can't be there, and you always have like a representative.
And I will remind people too that just because you're not on a subcommittee, you're not prohibited from going to those meetings. These are open meetings. They're not necessarily televised, but they're posted and they're subject to the open meeting law requirements. So anybody is welcome to go. You don't necessarily get a vote, but you know, if you'd like to go, you're welcome to go. All right? Excellent.
Great.
So I think that concludes our agenda. I'm just going to point out that we are going to see a lot of each other in the next few weeks. We have town meeting next Monday, Tuesday, likely Thursday. We have a scheduled school committee meeting for that Wednesday in between the town meeting dates. And when we are at town meeting, we will be in session in case we need to deliberate on something for some reason on the floor. So those will be school committee sessions. Yes.
So on the meeting, so at our scheduled meeting on the 3rd, we're hoping to at least vote, perhaps at least for finance subcommittee?
Yes.
Good, because I know that moving forward, the finance committee wanted to plan meetings and stuff, so that would work then?
Yes.
Okay, great, all right, thank you.
Any other questions? Wonderful. Then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Oh, yep.
Excellent. We're adjourned.
Welcome to your shortest meeting ever.